And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey everybody, I'm Tom Vasel, and I've been looking at classic games in a Dice Tower library, and today we're taking a look at Reiner Knizia's Kingdoms. Now this doesn't necessarily look like an old classic game, this is a reprint of it. We just recently got this from the Phil Toffey Karma collection, adding it to the library. I first came across this game in the Fantasy Flight Silver line. Technically, I guess it's still part of that line. It was a line of small games. Most of them were not tremendously popular. The one that you may have heard of is Citadels. Did very well. Kingdoms, though, from Reiner Knizia was, I believe, the first one that I bought in this series. It sounded interesting, placing tiles on the board and scoring points based on where your castles were, and you had to decide whether to put your castle out early or late, and whether to hold that big point tile and put it out next to your own and make yourself a target or not. It's a very mathematical game, which Knizia games tend to be. Let's show you how it plays. Each player gets some level 2 castles, level 3 castles, a level 4, and then a certain number of level 1 castles based on how many players are in the game. The fewer players, the more level 1s that you get. The game takes place over 3 eras. Each era is played the same way. At the beginning of an era, you draw a tile. This is considered your starting tile. You keep it secret. On your turn, you have one of 3 things you can do. You can place a castle anywhere on the board, or you can draw a tile and decide where you're going to place that tile. So maybe you'll place that tile there. Or you can take the tile that you have and place it somewhere on the board. And this will continue until there's no empty spots on the board. Scoring is pretty simple. For each castle, you're going to look at the row and column that it's in. So let's take a look at this little castle here. You'll add together and subtract. So 4 minus 1 is 3, plus 3 is 6, minus 2 is 4, plus 2 is 6, minus 3 is 3, plus 6 is 9. So 9 times the rank of the castle. This is a level 1, so the green player gets 9 points, and you just take money from this pile here. Now, the red castle here would be 4, so let's hope that one turns out well. So we have 5, and here we have a gold mine tile. This doubles the value of all the other tiles, both positive or negative. Well, that's really good because there's 2 5s here, so that's 20. And then you get 26, 23, 24, 25. 25 times 4, that's 100 points for this castle. Whew! Red is doing really well. There's a couple other special tiles. The mountain splits something, so these 3 tiles are separate from these 2. This mountain blocks this one from coming here to this one. And there's also a wizard. A wizard adds the rank of each castle that's next to it. Instead of this being a 2 castle, this is a 3, which is actually pretty bad for this castle because you'll see there's a minus 5, minus 6. That's negative 11 plus 2 is negative 9, plus 3 is negative 6. This doubles that, so there's that at least. So it's negative 3 total, but this mountain blocks anything else. So negative 3 times 3 is negative 9 points. Not a great castle for the green player to put out. The other special tile, the last one, is the dragon tile. The dragon tile cancels all the good tiles in its row and column. So this dragon tile cancels the 5 and the 6. But this blue is still getting this negative 6 and this negative 2. Once you've done all the scoring, all the level 2s and higher castles are removed from the game. The level 1s go back to the player, who still has any castles they haven't used yet. You clear the tiles, put them face down, do it again. After 3 eras, whoever has the most points is the winner. This is easily the nicest version of this game. One of the versions I had, the castles were all tiles. They were round instead of square. That was the original one. These work pretty well. The number of spires on them, this is a 4. This one here is a 3. And you can see there's a level 1 out there and a level 2 here. So they all kind of, you can see the different sizes to them, 1, 2, 3, and 4. The artwork on the tiles is fine. I want to say it's probably the original artwork. I think they could have concentrated a little bit less on the artwork and more on the numbers. The white border for the numbers isn't fantastic, but this game is not going for beauty. It's a utilitarian game where you're putting down tiles and scoring points. And the money here, which is points, is pretty simple. It works for what it is. The rules are very simple. There's a bunch of variants in here. I haven't played with most of them. No luck, things like that. But I do like that there's a good example of scoring here on the box. And everything very easily fits in the fairly large box, considering the pieces in this game. I remember the first time I played this, it was so much fun. It was just for me, this exercise of, you want to put out that tower. It has this sort of, press your luck, because if you put your tower out too early, when other people draw big negative numbers, they're going to put them next to a big tower. So you want to wait to put out your tower with 4, but you also don't want to wait too long, or else there's nowhere to put it and someone else will go there first. If I put a +6 in a column and someone else puts a castle, then another person puts a castle, then another person puts a castle there, you've wasted all the empty spaces. Not to mention that dragon, that dastardly dragon, can be popped anywhere and cancel all the good tiles in that row and column. So it's a very risky thing to put your castle out too early, but if you wait too long, and I enjoy that. That's a good concept, and I had a lot of fun playing this. Each round is pretty much the same thing. You play through 3 eras. The only thing different is in Era 3, you're putting out all your castles, any ones you have left. But if you've already got rid of your big ones, Era 3 can turn into a, let me stop the other person. Now, Kingdoms is a themeless game. In fact, they made a version of it that came out well over a decade ago called Beowulf. I believe it was based on the movie at the time. And it had kind of specialized boards. It's fine if you can hunt down a copy of that, but it's not worth your time. This is the straightforward, the normal game. Beowulf added a few extra rules. I don't think they're necessary. But this Kingdoms is a game that I appreciate. When I played it, like I said, I had a lot of fun. But as time has gone by, there are so many other games that give me the same sense of enjoyment. And when I went back and went through this one, I thought, okay, yeah, it's amusing a bit, but we've kind of passed it. When Kingdoms came out, there was dozens of other games that were coming out in the same year. Now we have hundreds and thousands of games coming out, so this one gets lost a little bit more in the shuffle. But what it does do is it takes away the trappings. I mean, I guess the dragon has the small veneer of theme in it, maybe the mountain, but other than that, it takes out the trappings, and it's Knizia at his purest, just points. And you see the mechanics of this game peering out at you like chiseled bones from a carcass, and you say, okay, I can see them, and I want to play this. But usually people who like that sort of thing tend to want to play a longer game too. This is a filler, a game you play in between other games, for people who are playing those big hefty Euro games. And I enjoy it, but I can see, I played a game with a lot of people who thought, when I was done, I said, what'd you think? They're like, it's okay. They just weren't keen on that math and knowing that precise surgical moment to put out a castle on the board. It's a fine game. I'm glad it's in the Dice Tower library. It's certainly worth pulling out and trying. 30 minutes at most. It's not a very long game, but it is a game that I think is one of those games that I'm almost looking at in the rearview mirror going, I remember you. But now I'm going to go on and play games that have taken the concepts from this and done it slightly better. I still think it's a bit of a classic of a game, though. So that's Kingdoms from Reiner Knizia. I'm Tom Vasel. Thanks for watching the Dice Tower. Dice Tower Judgment, classic but dated.